this video, we'll go through a brief introduction of the MDM application toolkit. We'll perform a demonstration of building a simple UI from scratch where we build a search form that performs a search on the Infosphere MDM and presents the results. And we'll talk about where to go next for further education. The application toolkit is a plugin that you can use with the IBM Business Process Manager. It is a rich library of MDM-specific capabilities from integration services, UI controls, and MDM data objects. Using the application toolkit, you could move from programming and developing user interfaces to simply configuring when building new processes and new user interfaces. Let's take a look at a demonstration of how we can build a simple user interface. In this demonstration, we will create a new business process that allows users to search for a person based on the last name. The business process will use the Infosphere MDM to perform the search and display the results in a table on our UI. We will start off using the BPM Designer tool. If you have not done so already, after you install the BPM Designer, you will need to install the MDM application toolkit. If you click on the Toolkits tab, you'll see all the toolkits that have been installed. We currently have the MDM application toolkit already installed, but if this is a new installation, simply click on the Import Toolkits and select the Twix file that is distributed with the Infosphere MDM application. Back under the Process Apps, we can create our new application by clicking on the Create New Process App. We'll name our new application Search Person App. Or SPA for short, and then we'll click on the Create button. To design our new application, we can click on the Opens in Designer besides the Search Person application. Before we start, we will need to add the MDM application toolkit as a dependency for this application. On the left-hand side of the designer, you will find the toolkits that are available for us for designing our new application. Beside the toolkits link, click on the plus button. Under here you'll see our MDM application toolkit. If we select that, it will add it to the toolkits that are dependencies of this application. If we click on another one, we can add our physical MDM object since we'll be performing a physical MDM search. Now we are ready to create our new user interface. If you click on the user interface link and the plus, we'll create a new human service that will involve a couple of user interface screens plus an embedded service. We'll name our new human service called Search Person and click on the Finish button. In the diagram, you will see a start and an end node. Between these nodes is where we'll add our UI screens and services. To start off, we will drag two coaches onto the work area. The coaches can be found in the right-hand panel of our work environment. Coaches in BPM represent screens that are displayed to the user. The first screen that we'll be using in our search is a search form where the user can provide the last name for the search. We'll give this a name called Search Form. The second screen will be our results from our search. We can again click on the coach and drag it to our work area. For this one, we'll call our search results. The next piece comes from the MDM application toolkit. What we need between the search form and the search results is a search against the Infosphere MDM. To do this, we'll drag a nested service that are found on the right-hand side onto our work environment. We'll name this MDM Search, and down in the property screen below, we'll see under the implementation, we can select what type of service or embedded service we're going to invoke. If you click on the select, you can start typing MDM Search and it will come up and filter for the MDM Search service. After we've clicked on the implementation, we can click on the data mapping we can see what input mapping and output mapping will require. From here we can see that we need an MDM connection, an input object, and a results from the service that we invoke. For a physical MDM service, we can take a look at the documentation to see what input and output we get from the actual MDM search service. From the MDM documentation, if we navigate under the Developing for Standard and Advanced Edition, the Physical MDM, Transaction Reference, and Physical MDM Transactions, we can navigate down to the Search Person, and in the Search Person we can scroll all the way down to the bottom where we can see the input to this service is a TCRM Person Search Business Object, and the results is the TCRM Person Search Results Business Object. Back in the BPM Designer, we can click on the Variables tab to add these variables that are going to provide or go into as input to the MDM search. We will create 3 variables: an MDM connection, TCRM Person Search Business Object, and the TCRM Person Search Results. We will create our objects as private, however it can be useful to make the MDM connection as an input variable to help combine services in the future. To create the MDM connection, we'll click on the Add Private button. Here we can name our MDM connection, and if we click on the variable type, the Select button, we can start typing in connection, and it will filter down to the MDM connection object. For MDM connection, we'll use default values, so we can click on Has Default checkbox, and for our localhost we'll put localhost, or hostname we'll put localhost, because we have a locally installed MDM server. Port 9080, username is MDM admin, password is MDM admin. The server type is optional, so we'll leave it blank. The locale for invoking the service will be English, so EN, and the requester name we'll put as BPM user. This will be stored for persistent transactions as the last update by user. Once we've done that, we can save, and we can create our 2 other variables. We'll need one for the input that goes into the service and one for the output for the results of our search. We can click on the Add Private again, and we'll call this variable Search Input. And for the object, this is going to be the TCRM Person Search BOBJ. And for our other one, we'll put as Search Result. And its type will be TCRM Person Search Result BOBJ. Now for our results, it will be a list, so we'll click on the Is List checkbox, and we'll save. Now that we have our variables, we can bind them to the service that we're invoking. So we can go back to our diagram, click on the MDM search, and underneath the input mapping we can click on the Select a Variable and add our MDM connection. Same thing for the input object, select our search input. For the output, we can select our search result object. The MDM connection will have its values, but the input object we need to populate with our search form. So we can click on our coach, our search form coach, to open up the designer for our coaches. And to add our last name field, we can click on our variables. Underneath our search input object, we'll find a last name field, and we can drag and drop above the OK button. This will be binded to our variables. And for our OK button, we can change the name from OK to Search. For the results, when we get the results back, we can click on the coach for the search results. And under our variables again, we can find our search results. And what we can do is we can drag and drop our current item. And we can drag and drop the party ID. This will provide you a vertical selection, but if I select the vertical selection, underneath the Properties tab, we'll see the binding or the view, and we can click on the select for the view, and we can select table. Once we select the table, we can drag and drop that party ID into the table selection, and we can select the other values that we want to provide in our table. So if we scroll down, we can provide the given name 1, last name, and we can do the address as well, address line 1. Once we've done that, we can save the form, and now we can connect our process. So we can go back to our diagram, we can click on the sequence flow, and we can go from the start to our search form, which will populate our search input. From our search form, we can go to our MDM service, which will perform the search against the InfoSphere MDM. From there, we can go to our search results, and then from the search results, we can go to the end node. To test this out, once we've done that and we've saved, to test this out, we can click on the Run service, and this will open up a browser which will display our first search form, where we can type in Will with a %. We've already added a number of people to the InfoSphere MDM that start with Will. So you can click on the search button. Now this will perform the search against the InfoSphere MDM and then send the results back, which will display in our search results form. And here we see our 7 results from our search against the InfoSphere MDM. In this video, we covered the Business Process Manager MDM Application Toolkit. We've also showed a demo how you can create a new connection object to connect to the InfoSphere MDM, how to invoke an MDM search service, and how to show the results from the search from the InfoSphere MDM search on a user interface. For next steps, to deepen your understanding of the InfoSphere MDM, you can enroll in the following courses: the ZZ800, which is an introduction to the InfoSphere MDM version 11, the ZZ820, which covers the InfoSphere MDM architecture, the virtual and the physical module, the ZZ840 from customizing using the workbench to customize the InfoSphere MDM version 11. Each of these courses come in various formats, from classroom training to self-paced virtual courses to web-based training. We do have training paths that cover which courses to attend first and how to progress with your InfoSphere MDM education. We also have a certification for the physical side of the InfoSphere MDM, the InfoSphere MDM Server version 9. Thank you for watching this video.